Hi, hello, and welcome to Paisa Vasool. As always, I'm your host, Shravan. We've got Taran here with us.
Hello.
Today, we're going to revisit Pushpa 1,
Pushpa the Rise.
starring, I think this was the first movie that he started going by Icon Star. So, Icon Star Allu Arjun.
People call him Bai online, but with the two A's.
And it's the Telugu debut of Paisa Vasool in this movie. And obviously directed by Sukumar, who has, I think this is his third movie with Allu Arjun.
Yeah. Pushpa 2
will be his fourth. And Divisive Prasad, who has always been the music director for Sukumar's films, so he continues his run with him. Came out in 2021, towards the end of the year, so December 2021. So 3 years later, we're going to be getting 2. And budget-wise, it was about 200 crore. And box office-wise, it did about 360 crore. So it did well. I think it did better than they expected it to in the North Indian market, in the Hindi version. And I think the Telugu version kind of it did okay. I don't think it was like a massive blockbuster in Telugu, but I think the Hindi version was the one that really propelled it to be as popular as it is today.
And I think it had OTT success as well, streaming success.
Because I think shortly after it came out, we went back into lockdowns and stuff, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It released around that time, yeah.
So then it came out onto streaming pretty quickly, and then I think a lot of people watched it through that. Yeah, so obviously this movie's been out for a while, so this is going to be more of a retrospective on our thoughts on it, rather than a full review, and then we'll obviously talk about what we think about Pushpa 2 as well. So what do you think of Pushpa as a movie?
So I've only seen it twice. Once when it first came out, and I rewatched it relatively recently. And I do not like this movie. I don't think it's that good. It's got some parts in it that are memorable and some parts that are entertaining. But I think Sukumar as a director tries to write smart characters that end up being dumb characters. Like he thinks they're smart, but it's either they're just if you've seen some of his previous movies like Nanaka Premator and I think One Okadine is similar as well, where the characters are meant to be like super smart, but in the end it's just luck or they are actually dumb. And everyone around them is just somehow dumber than they are. I don't know. I just don't really like the Pushpa character, and I think a lot of this movie rides on you liking and rooting for the Pushpa character, but I just don't like him. I don't think it's that great of a character. I don't think Allu Arjun's that charismatic in it. It's just whatever for me.
Interesting. I thought I don't mind this movie. I also don't think it's that good either. I think that I think the popularity of it doesn't really match the actual quality of the film. It's like it's not a bad movie. I think I think Allu Arjun was very good. I actually think I do like the Pushpa character. I think there's parallels between, I guess, Pushpa 1 and maybe like KGF 1 in terms of like why they were successful or like why KGF was successful. I think it was mostly because people really like that lead character. And I think people really like the Pushpa character. And I thought it was okay as well. He's got like a bit of swag and attitude. And yeah, I think that was okay. But there are flaws to it in the sense that it just kind of ends. The movie just ends. And they introduce the antagonist or the supposed like main villain
in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's like quite late into the film. And I'm not even sure, like, is he even a villain? Like, he doesn't even do anything that bad. So
No.
he just kind of comes in and like he asks Pushpa to do stuff and Pushpa does it. And then they have a conversation. That's the end of the movie. It just seemed a bit rushed, like either rushed or
especially the last 20 minutes just seems like it's tacked on. Like it's not part of the original movie and they just added an extra part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And none of the villains. So the other, I guess, the main
None of
villain,
them are like memorable or like.
yeah, like Sunil's meant to. I think Sunil was meant to be the main villain in one.
Yes, yeah.
So, but
But
he's
even he's not like.
it's not really that intimidating or anything.
No.
It's just like
Yeah.
there. There's one good scene where I think it's the intermission, like just
Yeah.
before the intermission. I think that scene is pretty good where Pushpa gives him like a warning. And I think that there is, and I hope they explore this more in two, but I think the actual interesting part of Pushpa is more the stuff with his family than the smuggling stuff. I think the smuggling stuff is like, he's
Yeah.
that's where he grows. But I think the stuff around him being the illegitimate son, and then like his extended family not liking him, and him trying to prove himself to his extended family. I think like it's touched on in this movie, but it's not really explored that deeply. And maybe they'll do it more in the second one. And I think there's some. The action's not like amazing or anything, but there's some good parts where, the part where he's like taking I think the police are coming to one of their
He's putting the logs into the ocean.
logs into the ocean, into the river.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
It looks
artificial.
It looks very artificial.
Yeah.
The logs also look very fake.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think they'll have, I mean, the budget wasn't small for this, but they'll have bigger budget for the second one. So maybe it'll look better in the second one. I think they weren't expecting this. So I think I read in one of the interviews, like it was actually an afterthought to even release this in other languages. Like they kind of just did it, like just for the sake of it, like just to see how it goes. But they never expected it to do that well. They were really banking on like the Telugu version to bring in most of the money.
I think the setting of it and like where it's like how it looks, it's probably more the places where it's hitting and where it was a hit is similar to where the setting of that movie is. Like it looks like that.
I think the rural like communities will resonate,
like the
with
BC centers, as they say in India.
Yeah, so like the more like I guess the rural areas of India. I guess it is one good thing about the movie. It is very like culturally rooted. Like it's a very that's why I'm kind of surprised it did well, like in the north. But I guess it was more the rural setting than anything. But it's like even the slang they use, like I couldn't understand some of it. It's not like normal Telugu, so like it's is it Chittur slang, or I think it's Chittur slang or Nellore slang or something. You can correct us in the comments, but it was very foreign to me. Like I actually had to put the subtitles on for some of it because I actually didn't understand some of these words that they were saying. It's obviously Telugu, but like I'm like this is, and I'm interested to see how that translated into other languages, like how it resonated so much with other, especially the Hindi audience, where it seems like it's such a regional Telugu movie as well. It's like, it felt like something that would be very specific to that region. But maybe the character just, extended beyond all of those boundaries. I thought the music is good in this one. Like the background
rewatch, the background music.
Yeah, the background music is pretty good. Yeah,
I don't actually like that many of the songs on a rewatch. I did, like at the time maybe, but they were hits, and I think they were everywhere. But are they my favorite? Is it my favorite Allu Arjun album? It's probably like not even in the top 5.
Probably not.
Yeah,
it's probably not even in the top like Sukumar,
10, yeah.
Sukumar and David Sri Prasad combinations either.
Yeah.
So I think the song that everyone, or the most popular one, fortunately or unfortunately, is Uantava. I think that's sensation, I guess, when it came out. So that's the most popular song. But even the other, like Srivalli and
they're all very popular.
Yeah,
I just don't think they're that good.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think a lot of them did. Yeah, they were just really popular, I think.
Yeah.
And Allu Arjun did win a national award for this, and to my surprise, he's the first Telugu actor to ever win a national award.
See, it's not that good of a movie. It's not that good of a performance.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed Allu Arjun in more like he's more charismatic and he gives better performances in other movies compared to this movie, I reckon.
Yeah, yeah. I think that award. It's kind of like the Oscars. Like people don't get the award
When they meant to get
when
it.
they actually deserve
Yeah.
it. They get
Yeah.
it like because retrospectively they realize, oh shit, that they were actually pretty good in some other movie,
Yeah.
and they'll give it to this movie. Like that's probably what happened to Leonardo DiCaprio. Like he was good in a lot of movies, and eventually they're like, oh, we should probably give it to him, and they gave it to him in Revenant, which was good, but like he probably had
Not his like best role. Yeah.
yeah. So I think it's not just Allu. I think in general they probably start to realize that South Indian regional movies probably deserve a bit more recognition than they historically have been given. So I think it was more that than anything. And Pushpa was successful in that year, and everyone loved that character. And it wasn't a bad performance. It was good.
He's still good. I don't think Allu Arjun ever does a bad job.
So I think that's what kind of eventuated him getting it. So it's not that he doesn't deserve it. I think he does, but
it's not my favorite Allu Arjun. By a far margin, it's probably not even in the top 5 of my favorite Allu Arjun movies.
I think he was good in it. Like he definitely commits to the slang and like the look, and like he has to have his shoulder up for like.
But the reasoning behind that is so stupid.
I don't know why he does. So
his brother, well, I guess stepbrother, says he's can't use his family name.
Yeah.
So he puts his shoulder up and he leaves it there. That's the reasoning.
That seems to be the reasoning for the origin of that thing. But yeah, he has to carry that throughout the movie, and it's not a glamorous like look. Like it's not like and it's not even like a good, as in a good character. He's actually kind of a bad person as well. But he's like a lesser evil, like similar to KGF. Like in KGF, he's not a good guy either. But he's the lesser evil. So it's similar in this. Like he's in a world of where everyone's evil, and he's just slightly better than some of them. So that might be explored more in the second one as well. I thought Rashmika was okay, to be honest. Like
she's not great. The acting's not great. Yeah.
I always,
but she doesn't have a great role either. So like, what's she working with?
She does get dubbing, I'm sure, in this as well. But I just find her lip sync to be off all the time, like in all of her movies, not just this one. So that was kind of off-putting, but she's not in it that much.
Yeah, I'm just not a huge fan. Like, I know it's not in the Telugu states, it's not a loved film. It's not like as hyped as it is in the pan-India audience.
Yeah, and I think the Telugu audience, because this came out, this was Sukumar's film after Rangasalam. Rangasalam is loved, especially in the Telugu audience. So I think they had higher expectations of what this film should be. And it didn't reach, I don't think it reached those expectations, but it just kind of, I don't know, it just became this cult film, I guess. Like people just like it for, I think, the mannerisms and some of the dialogues and stuff.
It's more not the story or not like what happens in the movie. It's more what he does, like his mannerisms, how he says stuff, like the dialogues.
Yeah.
That became more of a hype factor for the movie than the actual movie.
I think David Warner played a bit of a part in it as well. Yeah, like it just became like a national sensation at the time. We'll have to see how number 2 does. We haven't really
number 2 is plagued with problems, so I feel like it's not going to be good, but we'll see.
Yeah, and we haven't really talked about Fahad Fazil, who will be featured more in the second one.
The thing is, he's not even that good at it because he's not in it that much.
Yeah, and I still don't understand. Like I said, I don't understand why he's the bad guy. He doesn't do anything bad as such.
No,
like he takes a bribe, I think, which is. I mean, it's bad,
everyone takes bribes.
Yeah, but in this world, like everyone's taking bribes, and he's a police officer. He doesn't actually do anything specifically bad. The only thing he does, I guess, is he again says that Pushpa doesn't have a surname. Like he doesn't.
Yeah,
that's the only thing he does, which like ticks off Pushpa. But apart from that, there's nothing that he does.
That end part of the movie does feel very much like an afterthought. Like. There's no foreshadowing or anything for that as well. I don't think the screenplay is that good, like in terms of the pacing of the story.
Yeah.
It's the first half's kind of meandering in terms of
I
not
think
much
the
happens.
whole
Yeah.
movie is pretty much like meandering. Like there are some peaks, there are some good parts like in between, but it kind of just goes along, and you like get to the end, you're like, oh, that was it.
And the thought is, was a part two needed? Could they have fit whatever's happening in this part two in this first movie to make it a full movie?
Yeah,
Because it doesn't feel like a full movie when you watch it.
it's called The Rise, but he rises in the last half an hour.
Yeah. And I got to say, a lot of the ideas that he comes up with, like at one point, the police come to search for them, and they've got it's all about smuggling this wood out of India.
Yeah, red sandalwood, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they come to look for the red sandalwood, but then he's hit it by lifting it up maybe 10 meters in the air.
Just look up. Just look up and you'll see it.
Surely they would have just looked up,
Yeah.
and it's right there. And it's meant to be like, oh, he's so smart because he raised the wood and they can't see it now.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's just stupid writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are stuff like that that definitely could have been handled. Like should have been handled better than what they were. Yeah, but otherwise, it is what it is. Like, I can see people enjoying it for like the dialogues and stuff, but apart from that, it's pretty average.
I think a lot of it reminds me of Nanaku Premator, when also a Sukumar movie where like he like moves a shoe like an inch or something, and then it causes like this cascading effect of things to happen, and it knocks out a guy or whatever. I'm like, no one can do that.
Except like in that they write NTR's character like he's meant to be like smart,
the smartest guy in the world.
But Pushpa's not meant to be smart, I don't think.
Yeah.
Like he's maybe street smart, but he's not like smart, actual smart. Yeah. So it's Anyway, I do like how it starts, and they'll probably address this in the second one, where it starts in Japan of all places. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Like the credits start in Japan. They're like, oh, this violin or whatever was made from this wood that was illegally sourced from this place in the forests of India or something. Like I think they'll come back to that because there is a part in the trailer in the second one where he's in Japan. So
okay.
Yeah. So maybe they'll like actually focus more on the smuggling, the international smuggling side of the business. So.
I probably think a way I would like this movie more, and I think to make it more, if they make Pushpa 2 just more crazy and fantastical.
Yeah.
Because it's already fantastical, but they try and ground it at different points when it's not very grounded to begin with.
Yeah.
Maybe they just go all out and make it crazy, like he's catching bullets and stuff. Like whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
What they do. They said the second one, like they've spent a lot of money on it, so and they've spent a long time making it as well. So hopefully it's not another disappointment. When we'll see where it goes.
I think it will be worse than this.
Worse than one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. One's okay. I'll watch it again. Like I know in this review I've said I don't like it and I'm not a huge fan, but I would probably rather watch it than some other movies.
Yeah.
But I think 2 will definitely be worse.
It's not his
It's not his worst movie.
No, Allu Arjun's done.
He's done way more terrible stuff than this.
Bad stuff as well. So
Yeah.
this is not. It's like an average one. It's not like top tier. Yeah.
It's just surprising that this is his most like successful movie, and this is the one that he's trying to do a part 2 for.
Yeah, and potentially part 3.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's not a character that I want to keep seeing him do. If me personally, I would rather see him move on to something else.
Yeah.
But people seem to like it.
So yeah, next episode will be Pushpa 2. So when that comes out. So I don't think, is there anything else we want to mention about 1? I'll be watching 2 when it comes out. We'll try to get the review out soon as we can. So do like and subscribe to us so you don't miss that episode. And if you're not following us on Instagram, do follow us on Instagram, because I see that we've got much more followers on YouTube compared to Instagram. So it just means that, you guys should follow us on there, because we've got reels and stories and stuff, and you can follow us on what we're doing. Otherwise, if they want to contact us, how do they go about it?
So our email address is cognitiverecalibrationpodcast@gmail.com.
We haven't done a revisited episode in a little while, so we'll be doing a few more of them. We've already recorded a few, actually, which will be coming out in the new year. But we'll have Pushpa 2, and then I don't think there's any other big films for the rest of the year. So we'll probably do our like best of. I feel like the best of will be harder to put together than the worst of because we'll have more to choose from for the worst of. But yeah, we'll do like a best and worst of in terms of based on our opinion. We also haven't seen every movie either for 2024 before you go into the new year. Thanks for joining us for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts on Pushpa 1, and we'll see you for Pushpa 2. See ya.
See ya.